Right, I am going to be doing a little bit of painting for issue number 11 of Combat Patrol. Now, I'm not doing great at the moment. I've got like really bad shaky hands due to my health, but I've decided I'm going to try my best. What I've done is I've already kind of painted up off camera an awful lot of the Leadbelcher on most of my miniatures, but left a little bit off. I'm going to apologise in advance for the fact that this isn't going to be like me doing full blown every single little bit. Just purely because, as I said, my hands are shaking and I'm really struggling to keep them still at the moment. Right, so what I'm going to do is just going to pop a bit of this Leadbelcher onto my wet palette here first. Get it all thinned out. And then just going to kind of, first of all, show you what I've done. So I've applied the Leadbelcher basically to major gun points on parts of the sword, as you can see here. I'm basically following the tutorial in key places. Now, hopefully I can keep my hands steady enough just to show you how I'm putting it on some key places here. When you're dealing with getting paints into recesses, you can see here how I'm doing it. What you really need to do is you want to try to get it to flow in. Sometimes what you need to like almost get it like a watery consistency. So I personally find that to really get into these little gaps is really make it as watery as possible so that it flows in like so, which isn't what they show you on the tutorials, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, sometimes you do want to get proper coverage. I found that just to make it so much easier, this is my opinion anyway, this is the way I like to do it, and it'll flow it into the recesses, and then later on you can go over the top parts, for want of a better word, later on with a thicker paint. So that's how I tend to approach those little bits. Now I need a bit of thicker this time, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the bolt gun on here. It's not a bolt gun, is it? It's a storm bolter. I should know that. I should not be calling it a bolter when it is a storm bolter. And I'm pretty certain that Primaris don't technically use bolt guns anymore, they use bolt rifles, which properly distinguishes them between the old style Marines and the new style Marines. I think what I've done is I've gone and put my camera far too close, and that's why it's having trouble focusing. Okay, so you can see hopefully how I'm basically trying to get, just making sure I've got all the different areas properly done. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm just basically trying to get into anywhere that needs to be. Oh, excuse my paw, sorry, my hand is shaking so much. I'm trying my best today. Fortunate problem when you have a chronic health condition that unfortunately can affect your fine motor skills. I mean, it doesn't often affect my fine motor skills to this level, and I'm really going to pay, so the way to put it, I'm going to suffer later on for even attempting to doing what I'm doing here. I'm literally going to end up probably unable to move my hands tomorrow as punishment for my hubris. Right. So as you can see, I'm trying to just kind of get nice coverage on key areas as I go along. And then you've also got this axe to do. So I can get some of the big areas like this. This isn't really a problem. What I'm worried about is whether or not my hand is going to cope moving around these details. I honestly believe I can't do it today. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just kind of... Let's see if I can manage it just gently and slowly. If I take my time, hopefully I won't make a mess of this. I think the difficult part is going to be getting into the tiny little details without messing up the gold imprint along the top. Let's see how I manage it, eh? Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there, and hopefully I'm not making any major mistakes as I go. If I mess up, I'll fix it when my hands return to normal. Now, basically, once you've got all of the kind of key silver bits blotted out, done proper, so again, there he is like this. Oh shit! Oh gosh, yeah, that's my fingers going. I'm going to pay for foolishly deciding to do this tomorrow. I am literally, there's a very good chance that I'm going to spend a whole day tomorrow with completely crippled hands, knocking back copious amounts of painkillers to teach me a lesson about not being stupid. Okay, so that's like the core of it really. Over here on this guy, a bit more Leadbelcher to go. So basically you're blocking out on the gun, main parts of the gun here. Then you may want to water your paint down so it flows into those holes. don't be afraid to do 2 coats, because that's the, you know, the right approach really. You need to, but I tend to find that if you've got the right kind of undercoat on, you'll always need 2 coats of this Leadbelcher. I tend to find it works quite well without. Just be careful trying to get behind bits. Things like tiny little details like that around this here. Okay. Again, little bits that I'm hoping I can do without mistake with my hand shaking. Things like this here. And then things like the gun and the handle of the gun. It's bolt pistol in its holster. Now, you may, depending on how you want to do this, getting into those little bits there can be quite good. My hand's a bit too shaky to be doing those kind of details today, but there we go. Yeah, just like hitting and blocking out major points, and basically that's your Leadbelcher down. Now with your Corax white, and I think for the sake of my poor fingers and my poor shaky hands, I'm not going to do that much here, but what I'm going to do is, if you look here, you've got things like the crux terminus that needs doing on both of these. Brush decided to go funny there and dry out very quickly. I don't know what's caused that. Just trying to be as careful as possible here. I'm trying to remember where I read about the crux terminus, like it uses a tiny sliver of the armor, like built into it or molded into it, a fragment of the Emperor's armor from when he fought his son Horus. I can't remember where I heard that. I don't know. I can't remember if I actually just saw that claim online or if it was in a book that I read yet or something. It's the kind of thing that I assume that is probably more like imperial propaganda. You like to make Terminators seem even more special than they really are. It's one of those things I really like about the way that 40k is. You can argue that so much of what gets said, like an author can say something and they can say whatever they want really, and then a different author can contradict it, and then they can basically just turn around and say, well, actually That's just propaganda. It doesn't matter, because they can just like literally change things instantly, and then which you might think, well, surely that's a bad thing. Surely all that kind of retconning up and retcon is a bad thing, and sometimes it is. But sometimes it's actually quite cool when you can basically give an in-universe explanation for things and basically argue that it's what's it called now? Just imperial propaganda. Like, they want you to believe that certain things to be true. Like, I hope that even though the Horus Heresy is kind of all written and there's lots of things that we understand as true about it, I hope that 40k literature kind of is still written to some extent based upon the old lore, like the pre-Horus Heresy being written lore, because it's cool. Like 10,000 years later, you know, it's perfectly possible that imperial propaganda has created a false narrative, or at least a what they need to be true about the events kind of narrative. Hope I'm making sense there. I might just be waffling again because I'm not feeling great. Because I do waffle when I'm not feeling good. Okay. So what I've got there, hopefully you can see that I've just kind of done the crux tonus. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply this white as well to this hair on this side. So basically this is a sculpting of hair that I did. I took the head from a different kit because I liked the way he looked, and then I added what you might call a side sweep of long hair. Now, for those of you who know your Horus Heresy, that's very common hairstyle. Is it common? I mean, it's a hairstyle anyway of the Emperor's Children. So I really wanted to push that hairstyle. Shaved on one side, swept over. Okay. And there we go. So that's like our kind of, you know, our core major points done now on these. I've still left his face grey because I'm hoping that we get a colour in the future that'll work really well. But I think for now, I think that's everything done. And as I'll just show you now, is the kind of other members of the Infernus squad done in the same way. So you can see I've actually been busy doing it all in the background. Still got a few little bits to finish on this, but my hand's shaking so much and I don't think I can finish it on camera at the moment. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.